J. Barber. In a conversation between Erid Jesawala and myself, Erid said at one point, but all we are to do is to sink our differences and genuinely employ him to bring us all together in his love. Each one should call out genuinely. When there is a common cause of distress, then that cry, that call should be there from Avatar's abode, imploring him, beseeching him to get you all together in the oneness of his love. Oh yeah. And if that atmosphere prevails, you may have the manifestation of Maya Baba at Avatar's abode. What an incredibly joyous thought. Is it possible? Of course it is. There are numerous incidents in the lives of dedicated lovers of Lord Baba that prove this. One among many comes in mind. The men folk of a certain place in India had been called to be with Baba. So the women resolved to come together and implore their beloved Baba to be with them too. And the deep cry from their hearts did bring the manifestation of the Lord to the place of their gathering, and each experienced the image of their beloved. So we all here continue to strive for togetherness and harmony, and there's no doubt that he, in the love with which he permeated his abode, helps us to experience his presence more and more. Yes, he focused his presence, the spirit of love, into his abode that we might be continually reminded of the only one purpose in life as we spend time here. He is everywhere. There is no corner of creation where he is not. But he is more easily and strongly experienced here and in his other places of pilgrimage. Avatar's abode was born in God-man's older age. Yeah. It and other Australian place of pilgrimage, Maya House in Sydney, came late in his ministry, and he did not detail their development as he did the Myrtle Beach Centre in the US. When doubt was expressed about making any changes to Maya House, Baba replied, "Do whatever you will. Nothing will ever destroy my presence there." But he was not able to walk the paths of the abode as he did at Myrtle Beach Centre. He did not have a map of the abode carried in the pocket of a disciple, calling it from time to time and pointing to a future cottage site as he did for Myrtle Beach. He did not give a clear and detailed statement on the purpose and conduct of Avatar's abode, as he did for the Myrtle Beach Centre. Baba, after all, did declare the Myrtle Beach Centre his home in the West. There is no reason why Avatar's abode cannot be his home in the South. when we have his assurance that nothing will ever destroy his presence there. Avatar's abode is primarily a place of pilgrimage, a stopping place where we can pick up or strengthen the scent of the beloved quarry, Maya Baba. As is so for all Baba's places of pilgrimage, but is also the main spiritual centre for Australia, a place where the tone, the atmosphere, the pace, the manner, and nature of all activities conducted here will be a guide, an inspiration for all in Australia. The underlying basis must be love and service, the key words Barbara has given us for the spiritual path for this age. It is a place for refocusing one's life, assessing where one is at and where one is going, because he is here more potently than in the general environment. We may better gauge or measure what we may become. Here we may rest and meditate, absorb his atmosphere, better able to take stock of the course of our life and renew again the real purpose of it, to love God, to live for God and die for God. So to me, beloved Barbara has given us in Australia a wonderful challenge, that of working towards the fulfilment of the purpose of Avatar's Abode as a place of world pilgrimage. It is only by his will that the great flowering of his love occurs throughout Australia, but it is also by his will that he gives us the opportunity to apparently help to bring it about. To do so creates great joy to ourselves, and at the same time, an atmosphere of love and joy for all who come. And the more we do so, the greater does beloved Barbara beam his pleasure. This is another little thing that I've written with regard to Avatar's Abode and of course in Australia. In a recorded talk, Erich made one of his most beautiful and poignant statements, and it was spoken with perhaps even more than his usual inimitable depth of feeling. When one has been with the God-man, he or she would long to be with him again. The life is not a life that is full of fun, but it is a life full of joy. This reminds me of life here on Avatar's Abode, as we all labour to make it a place of world pilgrimage, in such a manner that all who come are reminded of his love and beauty. That life is frequently not easy, certainly not full of fun, yet it gives at times a joy that is much beyond the joy of worldly life, touching the heart with his indefinable touch. We took to heart his wish as expressed in 1967. Bill's objective will be to make Avatar's Abode universally known, for it is to become one of the great places of pilgrimage in the world. This is a great burden Barbara is putting on Bill's shoulders, and it will be the responsibility of all who love Barbara to cooperate fully with him as one heart with many hands. The unfolding of love and beauty is born of suffering. The heart must break, albeit in minute degrees, that through the cracks his abode may shine as a beacon to all who seek truth. Beloved Barbara has said, let each Barbara lover be a Barbara centre, radiating my message of love through living the life of sacrifice, love and honesty for the divine cause. Our efforts to fulfill that wish may certainly prove to be heart-wrenching for all of us, yet that very pain must also be a source of manifold blessings. Here's many words of advice. On working in his cause, become more meaningful and supportive, and give us courage to try again and again to work cooperatively together. Beloved Baba knew so well our humanness and warned us often not to let slip our grip on his Dharma. In his gentle counselling, it was as though he allowed for the increased assertion of our individuality that follows from the conscious connection we experience with the Lord. Baba has said, but now you are older and are beginning to realise there is a greater work ahead of you than what you have been doing. It is not a different work. It is the same work done in a different way. And that is the way of effacement, which means the more you work for me, the less important you feel in yourself. I allow you to work for me so that you have the opportunity to use your talent and capacities selflessly and so draw closer to me. When you put my work before you, the work will go right, though not necessarily smoothly. And when the work does not go right, it means you have put yourself between it and its accomplishment. The way of my work is the way of effacement, which is the way of strength, not of weakness, and through it you become mature in my love. There are bound to be differences of opinion among workers. That is natural. But these very differences of opinion and feelings of competition and jealousy lead to the breakdown of the very foundation of work. First of all, bear in mind that you should not at all seek appreciation from me or from others. Secondly, do not depend upon anyone or any outside help in your work for me. The moment the worker depends on anyone or anything, the real work is undone. One penny raised in my name without true necessity is dishonesty and will be the cause of millions of rebirths. To love me as I should be loved is impossible, but to obey me is possible. Work should be done as work, otherwise it would be no work at all. I cannot tolerate egoism and hypocrisy. He who works for me does not obligate me, for he works for his own self. If you really love me, even a little, I want your hearts towards each other to be clean. Forget your past differences, clean your hearts, and live for Baba if you love Baba. Recently, a Baba lover told me of his experience at Abode some 20 years ago, when he went there specifically as a part of a team to assist in an important Baba work project. After a little time, he found that he could not continue to do so because of deep differences of opinion on how the work should be done, and also because of deep emotional conflicts with others of the group. He expected harmony and cooperation, and in his view, found neither. He was, needless to say, very upset, confused and hurt, and even worse, sidelined. And he spoke to Erich, hoping that Erich would intercede on his behalf. But Erich only smiled and said, "Now you are having the real Abode experience. My whole life with Baba was nothing but humiliation and frustration. You came to do Baba work and found Baba is working on you. In the world, you would be justified in seeking retaliation and justice, but that is not my beloved Baba's way. His way is one of effacement." But what an unfathomable blessing that in his compassion he is working on us all. Jai Baba.